The end of the world is coming, and hordes of zombies are invading the campus crazily. Everyone else is huddled under the table trembling. But the male protagonist Yi-Bei does not hesitate to push the class beauty Lee Ruashi out, letting her be devoured by the zombies. It turns out that Yi-Bei has traveled back from 50 years later and clearly remembers that in the last life, he and two other classmates struggled to block the door of the classroom to prevent the infected classmates from entering. However, Lee Ruashi, the class beauty, felt pity and asked Yi-Bei to open the door. Zhang Heng is our classmate, we can't give up on him. Seeing that the two were unmoved, Lee Ruashi became even more angry and acted like a class monitor. I am a class monitor, and I will not abandon any of my classmates. After some moral kidnapping and strong accusations, Zhang Heng, who had turned into a zombie, rushed into the classroom and bit Yi-Bei's arm with his bloody mouth. Yi-Bei's lifelong nightmare began from then on. Fortunately, he cut off his arm in time to avoid being infected by zombies. But he was also transformed into a mechanical life and returned to the modern world through a time machine, back to 50 years ago. This time, he only planned to do two things: rescue and revenge. When Lee Ruashi asked to open the door again, Yi-Bei lowered his head and sneered, knowing that she was the source of his pain. He said coldly, "Squad leader, he may have been bitten by zombies a long time ago. Can you bear the consequences if you let him in? Did you see him being bitten with your own eyes? I'm the squad leader. If anything goes wrong, I'll take responsibility." Lee Ruashi responded confidently. Yi-Bei didn't show any emotion. He walked aside and made a gesture of invitation. "In that case, then you open the door." No one expected that Yi-Bei, who was always silent, would actually do such a thing. Lee Ruashi was extremely angry and accused Yi-Bei of not being a man, asking a girl like her to do such a thing. Yi-Bei sneered and counterattacked. "You are so talkative, aren't you afraid? You talk so high-soundingly, but you let others do all the dirty work while you take all the credit. To put it bluntly, you are a hypocritical woman." Lee Ruashi was stunned after hearing this, feeling ashamed, and pushed Yi-Bei away to open the door. But just as she turned the doorknob, Zhang Heng, who had turned into a zombie, rushed in and pounced on her. Lee Ruashi saw the zombies so close and screamed and ran away. She hid behind a boy and tried to get him to block the zombies for her. However, Yi-Bei was prepared and kicked Lee Ruashi in the waist coldly, kicking her into the arms of the zombies. Lee Ruashi was hugged by the zombie and was about to be devoured when Yi-Bei swung the wrench violently and half of the zombie's head was instantly smashed. Lee Ruashi looked at Yi-Bei in shock and could not speak at all. It was not until the zombie fell that she stretched out her hand and asked Yi-Bei for help in horror. Yi-Bei stared at her indifferently, picked up the door panel, and blocked her out of the door. The classmates were shocked by Yi-Bei's behavior, but Yi-Bei urged, "Why are you still standing there? Come and block the door." Everyone worked together to seal the door. Lee Ruashi pounded on the door frantically, crying and shouting for everyone to let her in. "I'm your class monitor. Let me in." However, standing outside was Yi-Bei with a grim face, and no one dared to act rashly. Lee Ruashi's voice gradually faded away, and everyone began to discuss whether she had escaped or had been eaten by zombies. Yi-Bei turned his head and took a glance, and the girls suddenly became silent and dared not speak anymore. "Are you afraid of me?" Yi-Bei put one hand in his pocket, as if he had expected what would happen. Don't be afraid, don't be afraid. That woman deserved it. If you hadn't kicked her out just now, our whole class would have been buried with her." Hearing these words, Yi-Bei showed a warm smile. "I'm glad you're not afraid. Then open the door, I'll go out and take a look." The students all doubted their ears. Was this guy crazy? There were zombies everywhere outside, and he was going to go out? Yi-Bei, stop joking, it's too dangerous outside. They all tried to dissuade him. "Get out of my way," Yi-Bei suddenly yelled, his voice shaking the classroom into silence. In the horrified eyes of his classmates, he picked up the wrench and walked towards the door resolutely. It was unexpectedly quiet outside. There was no trace of zombies. Zhang Heng and Lee Ruashi also disappeared. Yi-Bei enjoyed the sunshine and observed the surrounding environment. The door of the classroom was blocked by classmates again. There were constant doubts from inside. That guy is too dangerous. He kicked the class monitor out just now. Judging from his expression, he might have been a murderer before. Yi Bei had anticipated the reaction of his classmates. He was unmoved and walked straight towards a female zombie. When everyone thought he was completely crazy, he raised the wrench and rushed towards the zombie. In the surprised and horrified eyes of his classmates, Yi Bei smashed the zombie's head with a stick. After doing all this, Yi Bei panted heavily and looked for something in the pool of zombie blood. Soon, he fished out a piece of dark green, energy black crystal from the blood and knew that his rebirth doomsday journey had officially begun. Seeing Yi Bei killing people without restraint outside, the boys were shaking with fear, and the girls even vomited. It's so scary, he's actually such a lunatic. He just kicked the class monitor out. It's really dangerous, someone suggested. Why don't we let him come back to help fight the zombies? But others immediately objected. Are you crazy? He is scarier than those zombies. Suddenly, there was a loud noise, the glass was broken, and Yi Bei appeared outside the window with a smile. Classmates, what are you still doing in the house? Come out and fight zombies together. It's very exciting. Outside the window, besides Yi Bei, there was another zombie standing with him. The two boys were so scared that they trembled and hurriedly backed away. However, Yi Bei was not panicked at all. He calmly kicked the zombie in the abdomen. Yi Bei pulled away, took another shot, and easily killed the zombie with a headshot using a wrench. He wiped the dirt off his face and sneered disdainfully. Everyone in the room was watching this scene, and it was completely silent. Yi Bei was too lazy to pay attention to these people and deliberately said, "Oh, these sticky things are really disgusting. Who knows about the infection? For everyone's sake, I won't stay with you." After that, he walked away without looking back. "I hope you don't die. See you later." Seeing Yi Bei's back gradually going away, everyone couldn't help but feel a sense of fear. He just left like that? What should we do? They couldn't believe what was happening before their eyes. Yi Bei carried a wrench and walked forward alone. Familiar street scenes came into view one by one, and memories came to his mind. In his previous life, he fled after being bitten. In order to avoid being infected, Yi Bei reluctantly amputated his limbs and spent more than 50 years of wandering life until he met a mechanic and was reborn with his help back to the present. As he walked, Yi Bei came to the shopping street. People hiding in the house saw him outside alone and thought he was crazy. But when they saw Yi Bei kill several zombies by himself, everyone was shocked. Class beauty Li Ruoshi hid in the shadows, gritting her teeth and thinking to herself, "Yi Bei, I will kill you sooner or later." At the same time, more and more zombies attacked Yi Bei. Yi Bei realized that he could not kill all the zombies and had to find a place to rest. So he turned around and ran to the inside of the shopping street, where many people lived and a group of gangsters occupied the KTV. Suddenly, Yi Bei's attention was attracted by a convenience store. He quickly slammed the rolling shutter door and shouted, "Open the door, let me in." Then he turned to the surveillance camera, indicating that he was injured and there were zombies chasing him. The people hiding in the dark watched coldly, thinking, "He is asking for death. Who would let him in?" However, the shutter door slowly rose. Yi Bei glanced at it with mixed feelings, dealt with the zombies behind him, and then turned over and went into the house. The room was dark, with only a little girl quietly hiding behind the counter. Yi Bei showed a gentle smile on his face. This girl, named Xiaoyu, like in the previous life, had saved his life. "Come out, I can see you," Yi Bei said with a smile. "Also, give me the key to the rolling door." Xiaoyu hid behind the counter, not daring to speak. Yi Bei sighed, pretending to be in pain, and covered his chest and said, "Oh, I'm hurt. It hurt so much." The kind-hearted Xiaoyu hurried over with the gauze in her arms. As soon as she put down the medical supplies, she was grabbed by Yi Bei. Xiaoyu blushed with fear and screamed, "Let me go." "Hey, it's okay. I won't eat you," Yi Bei said with a smile. "Give me the remote control and I'll let you go." Xiaoyu was holding the remote control tightly, and Yibei reached out to grab it without any hesitation. After a violent struggle, Xiaoyu was almost scared to tears, and she rolled and crawled to hide behind the shelf. However, Yibei kicked over the shelf and pointed at the frightened Xiaoyu and yelled, "You idiot! You believed me when I said I was injured? You are such a fool, so easy to fool." Yibei knew that he had to teach this girl a lesson. Otherwise, the tragedy of the previous life would definitely repeat itself. The little girl was once captured by hooligans and bullied, but the hero hid behind the shelf, trembling, and let his savior die tragically in front of him. It turned out that in the previous life, Yi Bei was also rescued by Xiaoyu in this grocery store. She bandaged Yi Bei's wounds and considerately brought various supplies. Yi Bei never thought that there was such a kind girl in the world who was willing to let him enter her store when he was injured. However, when Xiaoyu went downstairs, Yi Bei heard her screams. It turned out that the gangsters across the street took advantage of Xiaoyu's kindness and tricked her into opening the door of the grocery store, taking away all the food, even the young Xiaoyu. Listening to the girl's shrill cries, Yi Bei was so frightened that he could only hide behind the door, not even daring to breathe. When those people left, it was too late. Now Yi Bei has been reborn, and he will never allow such a tragedy to happen again, even if he has to pretend to be a villain. He wants Xiaoyu to understand that in the end times, human hearts are more terrifying than zombies. When Xiaoyu wanted to give him a new set of clothes, Yi Bei yelled impatiently, "What are you doing? Don't disturb me when I'm taking a shower." Then he told her to get out of here, viciously. Hearing Xiaoyu leave in disappointment, Yi Bei sighed. How could such a submissive person survive in the end times? After taking a shower, Yi Bei changed his clothes and walked toward the door. When Xiaoyu saw him coming down, she immediately hid under the table. Yi Bei asked coldly, "Little girl, do you live alone here? Where are your family members?" "Dad went out to purchase goods and hasn't come back yet." Xiaoyu answered in a low voice, "Are you a pig? You dare to let me in alone? Aren't you afraid that I will do something to you?" Yi Bei sneered. Xiaoyu looked aggrieved. "You said you were injured and covered in blood, so I let you in." Yi Bei roared again, completely frightening Xiaoyu into silence. He then told her that from now on she had to follow his instructions in everything and was not allowed to make decisions on her own. At the same time, in the KTV, the gangster leader brother, Centipede, gathered his men together. He had seen Yi Bei's ability to deal with zombies alone, so he decided to lead his men out to seize the convenience store opposite and take away all the food and women. However, when the fight really started, they found that zombies were not that easy to deal with. Soon, everyone was surrounded by zombies. One of the minions turned around and tried to escape, but was grabbed by the hair by Centipede Brother and thrown into the zombie swarm. After a fight, Centipede Brother and the remaining minions managed to run towards the convenience store. At the same time, Xiaoyu brought instant noodles and boiled water to Yi Bei. Yi Bei put away the energy black gold in his hand and told her to stay downstairs and not come up. After Xiaoyu left, Yi Bei wolfed down the instant noodles. "It's so refreshing, I really miss the taste. In a few years, instant noodles will become a luxury. Eat as much as you can now." However, while eating, Yi Bei suddenly heard a commotion outside the window. Suddenly, a stone smashed the glass window, and Brother Centipede reached out to grab the windowsill and tried hard to climb into the house. The moment the two looked at each other, Brother Centipede threatened viciously, "You kid, come and help me or I will kill you." Seeing the enemy of the previous life appear in front of him again, Yi Bei's eyes became cold and ruthless. Yi Bei picked up the boiling water and walked to the window without hesitation. He unscrewed the lid and poured all the boiling water on Brother Centipede's hand. Brother Centipede let out a scream that was more tragic than a pig being slaughtered. His whole hand was almost deformed by the burns. Yi Bei showed an evil smile on his face. "You want to kill me? Then I'll kill you first." But at this moment, a pair of small hands tightly grabbed Yi Bei's sleeves. He turned around and saw that it was Xiaoyu. He mustered up the courage to step forward and wanted to let Brother Centipede into the house. "Stop, don't hurt him, let him in." Brother Centipede immediately realized that the inexperienced Xiaoyu was his breakthrough point, and Yi Bei turned around and ordered coldly, "Get out. The man in front of you is a devil." He added in a deep voice, "If you let him in, aren't you afraid that he will kill you?" With tears in his eyes, Xiaoyu whispered, "But Dad said that we can't hurt anyone." Yi Bei fell silent. Seeing Xiaoyu's tears, his heart began to waver. Brother Centipede took the opportunity to lick his lips and said, "No, absolutely not. I'm just hungry and came out to find something to eat. After the zombies are gone, I will leave on my own accord." Seeing Brother Centipede starting to creep into the house, Yi Bei silently protected Xiaoyu behind him and noticed the utility knife on the table. He was moved and whispered to himself, "Hey, thank you for letting me in." Brother Centipede stepped into the house and finally revealed his true identity. He said coldly, "Wherever I go, it is my territory. Anyone who dares to disobey me will die. When the end of the world comes, the first person Yi Bei wants to kill is the Saint Squad leader Li Ruoshi, and the second is the gangster who once bullied his savior. Now Li Ruoshi has been pushed into the zombie group by Yi Bei himself, and when he was about to send Brother Centipede to see the King of Hell, he was stopped by Xiaoyu. The cunning Centipede used Xiaoyu's kindness to delay time and successfully crawled into the house. "Little sister, you are so cute," he showed a lewd smile. "I said I would not kill anyone, but you actually believed it." As he said that, the Centipede turned to Yi Bei, tore off his disguise, and revealed his true face. "Dare to scald me with boiling water? I will break your bones and stuff your limbs into a vase." Yi Bei didn't care about this threat. He held the utility knife tightly, waiting for Brother Centipede to lose his temper and take the initiative. But at this moment, Xiaoyu suddenly said, "Uncle, my family runs a convenience store. There are a lot of food downstairs, enough for everyone to share. There are spicy noodles, instant noodles, and bear biscuits." The innocent words made the two old-timers stunned. Xiaoyu smiled sweetly and said softly, "Let's eat together. When we are full, we will have no worries." Facing Xiaoyu's kindness, Brother Centipede thought she was humiliating him, so he stretched out his big hand to grab the girl. At this time, Yi Bei had already waited for the opportunity, quickly hugged Xiaoyu, and with a flash of knife in his hand, he cut off Brother Centipede's finger. Taking advantage of the moment when Brother Centipede screamed, Yi Bei rushed forward and stabbed out a second time with his backhand, trying to finish off this demon completely. However, Brother Centipede grabbed Yi Bei's arm, and the two sides fell into a brief stalemate. Brother Centipede had strong muscles all over his body. He threw Yi Bei away with force and kicked him hard, hitting Yi Bei's ribs, and Yi Bei's body flew backwards instantly. Brother Centipede covered his wound and slowly walked towards Yi Bei, grinning and saying, "You bastard. The biggest loss I've suffered in all these years is from you." Yi Bei struggled to stand up, but his broken ribs made him unable to resist, and his calf was stepped on by Brother Centipede. The pain was almost unbearable. Brother Centipede stepped on Yi Bei's chest and asked viciously, "Do you want to know how to kill zombies? Call me Grandpa and I'll tell you. You're looking for death." Yi Bei roared, and Brother Centipede kicked Yi Bei's chest fiercely. Seeing the frightened Xiaoyu, Yi Bei realized that in order to make Xiaoyu realize the reality, he needed to use some ruthless tricks. He pretended to obey, and when Brother Centipede lowered his head to ask, he sprayed a mouthful of bloody saliva accurately on Brother Centipede's face. Brother Centipede was extremely angry. He threw Yi Bei against the wall and kicked him hard in the chest. "You think this is fun? Then I'll kill you like this." Seeing that Yi Bei was already seriously injured, Xiaoyu suddenly grabbed the utility knife and stabbed it into Brother Centipede's collarbone. Brother Centipede didn't expect that this frightened girl in front of him would dare to attack him. He knocked Xiaoyu down with a wave of his hand. Pulling out the knife, he roared, "Stinky girl, I'm going to skin you alive." However, Yi Bei had already quickly picked up the hanger and smashed it hard on the back of Centipede Brother's head. Centipede Brother rolled his eyes and fell to the ground, never to stand up again. Yi Bei barely supported himself and gasped for breath, while Xiaoyu asked in a trembling voice, "Is he dead?" Looking at the blood on his hands, Xiaoyu's face became paler and paler, muttering to himself, I killed someone. Yi Bei reached out and patted her shoulder and comforted her earnestly. Child, it's okay. You did what you should do to deal with this villain. Xiaoyu's tears rolled down her cheeks and she whispered, but I clearly wanted to save him. Why did he change after he came in? Aren't there mostly good people in this world? Her eyes were full of confusion and puzzlement. Yi Bei responded coldly. This guy's not dead yet. Stop talking nonsense and go take a shower. He said impatiently. I have never seen anyone as stupid as you. Get out of here. After that, Yi Bei locked the door and muttered angrily. I am so angry that I have to save such a stupid teammate. He dragged Centipede Brother's body to the window and kicked him into the zombie swarm. After being thrown like this, Centipede Brother finally regained consciousness. However, the zombies around him were attracted by the smell of blood and rushed towards him frantically. Centipede Brother's eyes widened in horror. He was about to be torn into pieces by countless zombies, and he endured this pain while being conscious. Yi Bei listened to the screams coming from downstairs and said with a sneer, if I had a better knife, I could chop off your hands and feet and throw them down. He still felt unsatisfied, as if he didn't get enough satisfaction. At this time, Yi Bei noticed a gangster crawling out of the corridor of the KTV next door, so he shouted from a distance. Are there any living people over there? The gangster panted and replied, the KTV has been occupied by zombies and everyone is dead. Then he asked Yi Bei for help. Yi Bei made a friendly gesture without hesitation, with a hint of coldness in his eyes. Only dead gangsters are good gangsters. However, Yi Bei didn't know that this fish that escaped by chance would bring him huge trouble in the future. Facing the rogue girl Xiaoyu wanted to save, Yi Bei couldn't understand her kindness at all. It wasn't until he opened the girl's diary that he realized Xiaoyu was not a saint, nor a bad teammate. It turned out that there was a deeper reason behind all this. It turned out that after dealing with Brother Centipede, Yi Bei saw the frustrated Xiaoyu outside the room. Didn't I tell you to take a shower? Why are you still here? Yi Bei asked. Xiaoyu tilted her head to look inside the house. She was obviously worried about Brother Centipede's condition, but she only saw a pool of blood. Yi Bei said coldly, don't look, that guy's gone to hell. Xiaoyu seemed to blame herself very much. She didn't understand why Yi Bei had to kill people. She thought that even bad people could become good. Yi Bei was very angry. He had just paid such a huge price. But the girl still didn't learn her lesson. Idiot, haven't you read the story of the farmer and the snake? He is a bad guy. You saved him, and he wants to kill you. This is the end of the world. Xiaoyu murmured repeatedly in a low voice. The end of the world? She was completely unaware that the world she once knew had already collapsed. Yi Bei sighed helplessly, covered his wound, and turned to go downstairs. But Xiaoyu ran towards him and suddenly fainted in Yi Bei's arms. Girl, what's wrong with you? Yi Bei hurried back to the bedroom with Xiaoyu in his arms, put her on the bed, and began to check her condition. Did she get hurt just now? Yi Bei said to himself, but there were no bruises on her body. Yi Bei touched Xiaoyu's head and found that she was breathing rapidly and seemed to have a fever. After some searching, Yi Bei found a small medicine box on the bookshelf. After opening the medicine box, he discovered that in addition to the medicines, there was also a cute pink diary. Opening the diary, Yi Bei was stunned. What caught his eye was a list of donations. Xiaoyu thoughtfully marked the amount after the name of each kind-hearted person, and there was her handwriting with a smiley face at the bottom of the page. Thank you, uncles, aunts, brothers, and sisters, for your help. When I get better, I will definitely pay you back, and then I will help more people. The doctor told me that the treatment was possible thanks to the help of many kind-hearted people. I want to be a good person in the future. Yi Bei also found a medical record. He looked at the unconscious Xiaoyu with mixed feelings. It turned out that she had been seriously ill since she was a child. If it weren't for the help of the neighbors, she would not be alive today. Lifting up the girl's sleeves, he saw that under the large and small band-aids, there were traces of needle punctures. Looking at the unconscious Xiaoyu, Yi Bei's eyes softened. Is this why you want to save people no matter what? He whispered to himself. But the world that once treated you kindly no longer exists. Suddenly, Yi Bei touched the black energy crystal in his pocket. Looking at the green ball in his hand that was enough to change the world, he couldn't help but wonder whether this thing could help Xiaoyu's condition. After a night, Yi Bei, who was lying on the table, gradually woke up. He glanced at his suit and found that Xiaoyu had woken up earlier than him and was hiding outside the door and peeking at him. Are you up yet? Do you feel better? Xiaoyu nodded warily. Yeah. She was still observing Yi Bei vigilantly. Yi Bei was too lazy to talk to her anymore. He waved his hand and said, Go prepare some food and pack up your things. I have to find your dad and send him over. Xiaoyu was very surprised after hearing this. Are you talking about going to find my dad? Yi Bei nodded. Yes. Didn't your father go out to buy goods? I don't think it's safe here. It's better to hand you over to him. Yi Bei said coldly. But my dad told me to stay in the store and wait for him to come back, and not to go anywhere. Xiaoyu's voice was a little uneasy. Yi Bei asked a few more questions and found out that Xiaoyu's father had been away for 3 days, and the time he had been away from home did not match his usual time for purchasing goods. Use your pig brain and think about it. Your father has not been back for so long. Has he encountered any trouble? Xiaoyu instantly became nervous and shook her head. Impossible. But Yi Bei did not relax and used coaxing, deception, and a little intimidation. Finally, Xiaoyu ran downstairs, crying out of worry about her father. Looking at the little girl who almost fell, Yi Bei sighed helplessly. He went downstairs and packed several bags of food. When he turned around, he found Xiaoyu hiding behind the shelf, not daring to come out. What are you doing there? Have you packed up? Xiaoyu bit her lip, looking a little nervous. In order to see my dad, I changed into a cute new outfit and carried my favorite pink bunny bag. Yi Bei was both angry and amused. Why are you dressed like this? We are not going on a picnic. He shook his head and said, Forget it, whatever you want. Is the instant noodles I ordered ready? The two sat at the table with their backs to each other, unwilling to say a word. Yi Bei ate instant noodles while thinking that he would go and clean up the zombies when the sun got higher, and then steal a car to send the little girl to her father. In this way, he could put his mind at ease. At this time, Xiaoyu was eating spicy noodles, and the slurping sound made people feel hungry. Hey, is that spicy noodles? Give me one too. Just as the two were sharing spicy noodles, there was a sudden roar of an engine outside the house. The next second, a loud bang erupted in the quiet convenience store, and the goods on the shelves were scattered all over the floor. What's going on? Is there an earthquake? Yi Bei quickly protected Xiaoyu with his body and turned around nervously, only to see that the rolling shutter behind him had been dented by an off-road vehicle. A bald, fat man wearing goggles got out of the car with a big grin. This is actually a convenience store. I found a treasure. In the apocalypse, only ruthless people can survive. Yi Bei pushed the saintly class beauty who had hurt him into the zombies' mouths at the beginning. Now he put a knife on the neck of a fat boy, ready to stab him to death in front of the little girl. Originally, Yi Bei planned to take Xiaoyu to find her father to repay her kindness and then settle the matter. Unexpectedly, before setting off, a fat guy drove an off-road vehicle into the door of the convenience store. While he was looting supplies, Yi Bei appeared from the darkness. Don't move. Put your things down. The last bug that broke in has been thrown on the road to feed the zombies. I don't mind having one more. The fat man reacted very quickly, grabbing a handful of snacks and throwing them on Yi Bei's face, then tried to run away with the supplies. However, Yi Bei was faster than him and quickly rushed into the car, ready to get rid of this guy completely. Have mercy, I surrender. The fat man begged for mercy, but Yi Bei didn't stop. When he was about to kill someone, Xiaoyu stopped him. Stop killing people. Seeing Yi Bei staring at him, Xiaoyu had no choice but to explain, my shop was damaged by him. If he dies, no one will compensate me. Yi-Bei snorted coldly, then asked Fatty to use his car as compensation, without giving him a chance to refuse, and immediately ordered Xiaoyu to move the luggage. Just then, a group of zombies emerged from the corner of the street, and Yi-Bei hurriedly called Xiaoyu to get in the car. Hurry, drive! With a rumble, the off-road vehicle rushed them out of the zombie swarm. The fat man was also very brave. Although Yi-Bei pointed a knife at him, he started laughing wildly as soon as he touched the steering wheel. His driving skills were extraordinary, and he drifted easily. Yi-Bei was very unhappy and thought, "This fat guy really deserves a beating. He almost threw me out. If you don't drive properly, I'll stab you to death." Yi-Bei roared angrily. After hearing the threat, the fat man behaved himself for a while and followed Yi-Bei's request to drive towards the Pudong market. However, not long after, the fat man asked, "It's too boring to drive like this. Can we listen to some music?" "It's so noisy," Yi-Bei responded coldly. "Then can I sing it myself?" the fat man asked with a smile. As a result, the fat man sang all the way. Yi-Bei endured the torture and finally couldn't bear it anymore. "Can't you just be quiet for a while? I want to take a nap. And aren't you afraid of being distracted by singing?" The fat man replied with a grin. "This car is very tough. Hitting zombies is like mowing grass. Besides, the road is so boring and you guys don't talk to me. Just stop when I told you to. Why are you talking so much nonsense?" Yi-Bei roared. The car actually stopped, and when the fat man saw the fuel gauge return to zero, he screamed, "Oh no, the car is out of gas." Yi-Bei was also shocked. "Without oil at this time, when we die on the road?" He cursed the fat man's ancestors on the spot, and with a knife in hand, he was about to force the fat man to go out as human bait to lure away the zombies. "Oh, no, now that things have come to this, let me die a full ghost," the fat man begged. Xiaoyu, who was sitting in the back seat, was also scared and sweating. Suddenly, a zombie stuck to the glass outside the car window, and Xiaoyu screamed in fear. The car was surrounded by zombies. If it was delayed any longer, it would be a dead end. Yi-Bei realized that the situation was critical and he could not just sit there and wait for death. Suddenly, a machete behind the car seat attracted Yi-Bei's attention. The next second, he kicked open the car door. When the zombies were still wondering how someone could get out, Yi-Bei had already drawn his machete and chopped off one of the zombies' heads, making it explode like a watermelon. The shivering Xiaoyu looked outside, only to see his brother Yi-Bei with an excited, wicked smile on his face. Hee, what a great knife. With such strength in hand, ordinary zombies are simply a waste of money. Yi-Bei rushed left and right, killing zombies like mowing grass. And the crisis just now was resolved in an instant. The fat man was stunned by Yi-Bei's fighting ability. This is too strong. Xiaoyu didn't expect Yi-Bei to be so powerful. At this time, Yi-Bei asked Fatty to come out to help. "No, I'm scared," Fatty said, trembling. "You idiot, calm down. If you don't want to die, just listen to me," Yi-Bei replied impatiently. After observing just now, Yi-Bei found that there were several cars around. He asked Fatty to collect some gasoline and told Xiaoyu to stay in the car and not walk around. After that, Yi-Bei got out of the car and started chopping melons and vegetables, quickly clearing the zombies around. Looking at Yi-Bei's back, Fatty had something to say, but he didn't know whether he should say it or not. In the end, he gave in and told Yi-Bei carefully, "There's actually still gas in the car. I might have remembered it wrong just now." "What did you say just now?" Yi-Bei's face turned dark in an instant, and he walked towards the fat man with a knife in hand. In the bedroom, Yi-Bei was thinking if he only needed a packet of instant noodles to get a girl to do a nucleic acid test for him for free. Then he had a lot of supplies but was completely unaware that he had been targeted by others. Just now, Fatty took the initiative to confess his little thoughts to Yi-Bei and took the gas tank to start refueling the car. Seeing that Fatty was at least reasonable, Yi-Bei let him go and asked Fatty to help collect energy black gold. As he said that, Yi-Bei cut open the zombie's skull with a knife and took out a black crystal in front of Fatty. "It's so disgusting. I think I'd better go back to the car." The fat man frowned. Yi-Bei was furious. "I haven't settled the score with you yet. Do you want to die now? From now on, if I chop a zombie and it dares to be lazy, I will chop you with the next blow. The fat man suppressed his nausea, took out a shovel, and muttered softly, "Although I have a lot of flesh, I am also afraid of pain. You have to protect me." "You fat guy is so talkative, give it to me now," eBay urged. The fat man did not dare to neglect and quickly began to dig out the energy black crystal. "Oh, it really feels a bit decompressed," the fat man said as he dug, seeming to be quite devoted. After a while of hard work, eBay had already killed all the zombies around him. He sat on the ground, feeling that his body was far inferior to that of his previous life, and thought that it was time to use energy black crystals to strengthen his equipment and build a future weapon. He turned around and asked about the situation at the fat man's place. "How is it? Is it a good harvest?" Clang, clang, clang. "After digging a few, I got the hang of it, and seems to be quite relaxing." The fat man seemed a little proud. "Okay, then wash it and pack up." eBay nodded, then got into the car and prepared to check on Xiaoyu. However, when he looked, Xiaoyu had fainted on the seat. His face was red, and he had symptoms of fever again. eBay was horrified and rushed to Xiaoyu. "Damn it, it happened at this time." He touched Xiaoyu's forehead and found that her temperature was even higher than last time. So he looked for medicine and fed her water. The fat man looked at her curiously and asked, "What happened to your sister? Did she get a heat stroke?" "Mind your own business and drive," eBay replied impatiently. Seeing Xiaoyu's complexion slowly returning to normal, the fat man asked again, "Did you have heat stroke? Are you feeling better now?" However, eBay did not answer. He pointed the knife at the fat man and shouted ferociously, "It's because you lied to me. If anything happens to her, I will cut you into pieces." Xiaoyu finally opened her eyes at this time and was stunned to see that the ferocious Yi Bei actually cared about her so much. The car continued to move forward, and the atmosphere gradually calmed down. The fat man introduced himself. "My name is Zhao Hang, and I specialize in car repair." Yi Bei was just about to introduce himself when the car suddenly braked and the whole car shook. "Why did you stop again? You want to die, right?" Yi Bei asked angrily. The fat man's face was full of fear. "The road to Pudong Market is blocked by the fire. We can't get close at all." Seeing this scene, Xiaoyu was very worried. "My father is still in there." Yi Bei frowned and said, "How about we take a detour?" After he said that, he looked at the fat man again. The fat man nodded. "I know a way." He then turned the car and continued, "I know a blacksmith shop. The owner there is my fellow villager. The knife you're using, Brother Yi, was made by him." Yi Bei was a little surprised when he heard it. He actually made this knife? The fat man kept talking until Xiaoyu gestured for him to stop. She turned her head and looked at Yi Bei. "You are exhausted and sleeping soundly." The three of them quickly arrived at the blacksmith shop. Yi Bei took a quick look and walked in front. "As usual, I'll kill zombies and you collect beads." Unexpectedly, Xiaoyu called him from behind. "Wait a minute, I'll help too." Yi Bei stopped and said coldly, "I don't need you to go back to the car. If you suddenly faint or get bitten by a zombie, I won't save you." Xiaoyu still insisted. "I know you are not as vicious as you seem. I want to do my best to help." The fat man smiled and waved the shovel. "Little sister, you are so brave, and I will dig the beads. And you just stay behind. Hold on tight. I, old Zhao, will protect you. Don't worry." So, the three of them started to cooperate. Fatty and Xiaoyu started chatting, while Yi Bei concentrated on killing the zombies. The atmosphere around them seemed stable. However, there was a pair of eyes watching from afar, seeing Yi Bei killing zombies like chopping melons and vegetables. The tattooed man Luo Xiang couldn't help but blurt out, "This guy is so cruel. He is a national treasure." It was the first time he had seen such a cruel person. At this moment, one of his men rushed in, and just as he shouted, "Brother Luo," he was shot in the head by Luo Xiang on the spot. "How many times have I told you to knock on the door before you come in?" Luo Xiang said coldly. Behind his dead men, Wang Sheng, a gangster who had managed to escape, was so scared that his legs went limp, and he looked extremely terrified. Luo Xiang turned around and asked, "What's the matter?" Wang Sheng hurriedly said, "Boss, we saw someone killing zombies across the street." Luo Xiang responded coldly, "I've seen it a long time ago. Do I need you to tell me?" He paused and continued to ask, "Well, I also recognize one of the boys. He killed a lot of zombies single-handedly. He's amazing." Luo Xiang's eyes lit up instantly, and he keenly realized that this was important news. He stretched out his hand and said, "Give it to me." The gorgeously dressed woman behind him came over with a pack of instant noodles. Luo Xiang casually threw the noodles into Wang Sheng's hand and said, "This is a reward for you. Take it and eat it." "Thank you, Brother Luo." Wang Sheng took the instant noodles gratefully. Luo Xiang patted the woman's head, indicating that he was very angry. Next, continue to enjoy the good show on the other side. After he finished speaking, he turned around and instructed Wang Sheng, "Go out and tell them that if anyone wants to go down and play with those people, I will reward them heavily." The little girl was kidnapped by a gangster, who showed a disgusting smile and threatened to use Xiaoyu's safety to force Yi Bei to surrender. Unfortunately, he didn't realize that Yi Bei already had high-tech weapons from the future, and his identity as a battleship mechanic was officially unveiled. It turned out that the three of them had worked together to collect a large amount of energy black gold. Yi Bei asked the two to stay outside to guard, and he kicked open the door of the blacksmith shop. There was no one inside, and the fire was still burning. He asked the fat man to bring the energy black gold over and help polish the machete, and also reminded the fat man to pay attention to the movements around him. The fat man asked curiously, "Aren't we here to get new equipment? Why do we need to sharpen the knives?" Yi Bei explained, "Because after a week, these ordinary knives will no longer be useful, and we must build more powerful weapons." The fat man was surprised that Yi Bei actually knew how to make equipment, but Yi Bei said impatiently, "Stop talking nonsense, go get the beads." After the fat man left, Yi Bei began to dress neatly, and then activated his first skill as a mechanic, forging. He threw the iron pipe into the fire and started to hammer it, making a ding-dong sound. The fat man was stunned watching from behind. "This guy is really good at forging iron." Yi Bei instructed the fat man to put the energy black gold into the metal container. As a fire burned, the black gold gradually turned into a liquid that flickered with a faint light. The beads actually dissolved, and the effect was unexpectedly magical. Yi Bei was not surprised, but cut his palm, and blood gushed out. As the blood dripped into the liquid began to boil. When he poured the liquid onto the blade, lightning-like green lines gradually emerged on the blade. What followed was a long forging time, and the clang, clang, clang sound echoed in the blacksmith shop. The gangsters who were guarding outside were confused. What is going on in there? But soon they remembered the task Luo Xiang had given them and became excited. As long as they caught Yi Bei, they could eat instant noodles with the instant noodle girl. That feeling was simply amazing. One of them suggested, "Why don't we lie in wait and take action after dark?" Night fell quickly. Xiaoyu wiped the sweat from his forehead and prepared dinner. He had no idea that a pair of black hands holding a handkerchief were approaching him from behind. Meanwhile, in the blacksmith shop, Yi Bei's work entered the final stage. After processing the parts, he dipped the blade into the water. When he took it out, the electric lines began to jump on the blade. All the materials were ready, and it was time to show the true strength of mechanic. After some assembly and polishing, a futuristic battleship knife was completed. The fat man couldn't wait to touch it, but Yi Bei reminded him, "There's only one last step: activate it." With the injection of high-voltage current, the battleship knife seemed to be given life and made a roaring sound. Yi Bei held the sword, and his eyes instantly became as sharp as a knife. Sword forging level 2 was completed. However, before he could be happy, he heard Xiaoyu struggling outside. It turned out that Xiaoyu had been covered by the gangster's mouth and nose from behind and was struggling desperately. The gangster smiled and said, "Hello, little sister. Brother will take you to a good place." Yi Bei stood up upon hearing the noise, holding his sword and rushing out, just in time to meet a few gangsters trying to escape. Seeing Xiaoyu being kidnapped, Yi Bei's eyes instantly turned cold. He ordered in a low voice, "Put her down and follow us to see Brother Luo. Otherwise, I will kill her." Yi Bei did not respond, but silently raised his sword. The next second, a dark green sword energy cut through the air and instantly hit the gangster. Before he even had time to react, he was split in two with a scream. The scene in front of them stunned the other gangsters. The man carrying the fish began to retreat like crazy, trying to escape. Yi Bei raised his sword again and swung out a second sword energy. The steel pipe in the gangster's hand was instantly cut off. Then, Yi Bei beheaded him with a sword. "Put her down quickly, or we can't escape. If the mission fails, Brother Luo won't let us go." As he spoke, another sword energy exploded from the two of them, looking at Yi Bei, following him like a shadow. The wretched man could only run away desperately. At this time, the fat man shouted from behind, "It's not good. Brother Yika zombies. They're incredibly fast, just like they took stimulants." Seeing that the number of zombies was increasing, Yi Bei was in a dilemma. But in the end, he made up his mind, gripped the hilt of the sword tightly, and killed towards a group of zombies. The green sword energy roared continuously, and the zombies were like paper, unable to get close at all. Seeing this scene, the fat man couldn't believe his eyes. This was completely beyond his understanding. While Yi Bei swung his sword to kill the zombies, he instructed the fat man to chase them quickly. The fat man jumped into the car, anxiously praying that Yi Bei could hold on, then stepped on the accelerator and drove towards Wang Shang and the others. The car caught up with them, and the two hurriedly jumped on the bus. The fat man realized that all this was premeditated, and the whole building should be the territory of the gangsters, and they blocked the entrance with the bus. "What should we do now?" the fat man asked anxiously. Wang Shang and the others successfully escaped into the building, and then several gangsters with machetes got out of the car. "Your car is great. Thank you for sending it here." The gangsters laughed. Just as the fat man was about to fight back, a green sword suddenly slashed out from behind, cutting off the two thugs and the bus. Seeing the green film that kept jumping, the fat man was speechless. Looking back, he saw Yi Bei approaching slowly with a sword in hand. "Don't just stand there, come with me and save people," Yi Bei shouted. Before he finished speaking, he slashed with his sword again, and the bus, which was more than 10 meters long, was torn in half by the sword energy. However, behind the bus, more hooligans were hiding in the shadows, ready to attack. The originally proud Virgin Squad leader had gone mad. For revenge, he even traded his body with the mutant zombies, just to get them to help him kill Yi Bei and avenge himself. Just now, Xiaoyu was captured by gangsters, and Yi Bei went to the meeting alone with his new weapon, whether it was a flying knife shot from the dark or a Molotov cocktail flying. He could easily cut it off without any effort. Suddenly, a gunshot broke the silence, and the gangster leader Luo Xiang finally showed up. He said excitedly, "It's wonderful, it's really wonderful." He realized that Yi Bei was the top existence in the end times. So he invited Yi Bei to have a drink together on the spot, and even expressed his willingness to cooperate with him to make great achievements. However, Yi Bei ignored him. Seeing this, Luo Xiang threatened Xiaoyu. "I know the power of your weapon. How about we have a competition to see which is faster, your sword or my gun?" The fat man whispered to Yi Bei what to do. After all, Xiaoyu was still in Luo Xiang's hand. Yi Bei, who had been silent, suddenly laughed. "Huh? Sure, I'm worried that no one will help me with the big project. If you are willing to gather everyone to serve me, I will go up." After hearing this, Luo Xiang said excitedly, "I knew you were a big shot. We will welcome you in the most grand manner." The fat man was so anxious that he kept jumping up and down. "Are you crazy? We are going to challenge so many people." However, Yi Bei responded coldly, "If you don't want to come, get out." The two argued for a few words, and the fat man was finally pushed away reluctantly and disappeared into the night. Yi Bei glanced at his back, hoping that he would do as he was told. Then, under the guidance of several waiters, Yi Bei came to Luo Xiang's territory. Luo Xiang greeted him with a smile on his face. Welcome, welcome. There are not many people here, but all the young and middle-aged people within 15 kilometers are here, and I am their leader. Yi Bei's mouth curled up slightly. He didn't expect to meet such a force here. Since he came here, he decided to throw out a shocking news. Luo Xiang, I recognize you. Do you know how the zombie disaster broke out? Luo Xiang was surprised after hearing this. You actually know me? And you know the reason for the zombie outbreak? Yi Bei said calmly. You have long been aware of the spread of the zombie virus, stockpiled equipment and supplies in advance, and planned to build your Yulong BMW. As soon as these words came out, Luo Xiang's eyes widened, his face full of shock. How did you know? I only told this to my relatives. Yi Bei smiled slightly and took out an energy black crystal. You should be more interested in this. Luo Xiang was in a good mood and said with a smile, Brother Yi, you are really straightforward. In this case, let's stop beating around the bush and get straight to the point. Luo Xiang took out 2 energy black crystals and said with emotion, I have been thinking about this thing for a long time, but I still can't figure it out. But in you, I see the great potential of energy black crystals. Your sword and your big project are related to it. Can you tell me the real purpose of this bead? Yi Bei nodded. Okay, but you have to prepare the props I need first. Luo Xiang readily agreed, but at the same time reminded, but you have to be prepared too. It's not easy to observe the mechanical sword I use up close. Yi Bei handed the sword over silently. Luo Xiang's men were all very strong, but when they picked up the sword, they all felt that it was as heavy as a 1,000-pound boulder and could not lift it at all. Luo Xiang also tried it and found that it was true, but he still decided to see what new tricks Yi Bei could play with this sword. Yi Bei began to arrange the circuit board and introduced the energy black gold. He said this thing can adapt to metal and flesh. Can it be like an elixir that can make you immortal after eating it? Luo Xiang's interest was completely aroused, and his eyes were full of desire. Now I just want to know all the secrets of the energy black crystal. Yi Bei snorted coldly. Some people did try to devour him, but most of them turned into zombies. When Luo Xiang was still curious about what the remaining people would look like, Yi Bei had already raised the electric baton and motioned everyone to come closer. He was ready to demonstrate the power of the energy black crystal. As the high voltage current was injected, the energy black crystal instantly burst out with a dark green electromagnetic pulse, and the electric box in the distance exploded violently, and the entire hall fell into darkness. Luo Xiang finally realized that something was wrong, but Yi Bei had already touched his mechanical sword. The next moment, the dark green sword light cut through the darkness, and the future Yulong gang leader Luo Xiang fell. Luo Xiang, who once dominated the future, developed various black gold weapons and slaughtered and enslaved countless people, now fell under Yi Bei's sword. Yi Bei, wielding the mechanical sword, had only one thought in his mind. Before you become weapons, you must all be wiped out. When everything around him was quiet, Yi Bei turned around to check on Xiaoyu. He whispered, Maybe I've already become a butcher, but I can't bear to let you witness this. I want you to know the cruelty of the end of the world, but I don't want you to get caught up in it. He gently stroked the little girl's cheek and continued, This is all over for now. Not long after, the fat man also walked in. He had just pretended to quarrel with Yi Bei, but in fact he went to the outside electrical box to do something. Yi Bei collected the weapon that Luo Xiang dropped and pushed Xiaoyu to leave. Suddenly, the sound of a wine bottle broke the silence. It turned out that the instant noodle girl was shivering in the dark. She said nervously, Don't kill me. Don't kill me. I was captured by Luo Xiang. Please let me live. Yi Bei was not a bloodthirsty person, so he decided to let the instant noodle girl lead the way to find supplies. So the 4 of them left the hall. However, in the massacre, just now it was not only the instant noodle girl who survived. Wang Sheng crawled out of the pile of corpses. In front of him, in addition to Luo Xiang's body. There was also a black energy crystal flashing with green light. Recalling what Yi Bei had said, Wang Sheng gritted his teeth and swallowed the black energy crystal directly. A thunderous roar sounded, and Wang Sheng's screams were drowned out by the thunder. Yi Bei, who was preparing to rest, knew nothing about this. At the same time, Li Ruoxi, who was originally the aloof saint, has now completely turned evil. She meets the mutated Wang Sheng, who mutated after swallowing the energy black gold. He did not show fear, but used his body to seduce Li Ruoxi to take revenge on Yi Bei together. It turned out that after being pushed into the zombie group by Yi Bei, Li Ruoxi escaped by chance, but was spotted by a gangster and taken home. Here, Li Ruoxi took a long-lost hot bath, but while she was taking a bath, the gangster suddenly turned the door handle and broke into the bathroom. Li Ruoxi shouted loudly, "Get out! Get out!" However, the gangster stuck to the glass and said smugly, "I took you out of kindness, but there's no free lunch in the world, right?" Li Ruoxi cried for help in panic. "Help! Help!" The gangster listened to the storm outside and said with a smile, "No one can hear you even if you scream, unless you want zombies to save you." He didn't expect that the window in the house suddenly shattered, and then he walked towards the living room with a knife. The next second, the gangster showed an expression of extreme fear. Li Ruoxi could only hear a series of heart-wrenching screams. She quickly looked outside and found that the gangster who had tried to force her had been ripped open by a mutant covered with spikes. This mutant was Wang Sheng after he swallowed the energy black gold. After Yi Bei went on a killing spree, Wang Sheng found the instant noodle girl shivering in the corner. In order to save her life, the woman led everyone to the warehouse where the supplies were stored. As the building was out of power, Yi Bei decided to let Fatty take care of Xiaoyu first, while he went upstairs with a knife to clean up the enemies. It was this negligence that gave Wang Sheng the opportunity to swallow the energy black crystal and evolve into a mutant zombie. The mutation process was very painful, but Wang Sheng's screams were drowned out by the thunder. At the same time, Xiaoyu suddenly opened his eyes. "Brother Fatty, where are we?" The fat man replied softly, "You were kidnapped by a group of gangsters, and your brother Yi has already dealt with them." As soon as he finished speaking, Yi Bei had returned to the house. After he arranged the transportation of materials, he lay down on the bed, exhausted, and fell into a deep sleep. At the same time, Wang Sheng's mutation made him violent. After killing the gangster, he was still not satisfied and stretched out his claws to Li Ruoxi, who was hiding nearby. "You monster, don't come near me." Wang Sheng's body kept shaking, and he kept muttering the word monster. He lay on the ground and wailed, "I'm not a monster, I'm not. Why did I become like this?" Li Ruoxi was shocked by his reaction. This was the first time she had seen a conscious zombie. "What are you? How did you become like this?" Li Ruoxi asked. Wang Sheng told her that he was originally a human, and after being seriously injured, he swallowed the energy black gold and became what he is now. Li Ruoxi only understood half of what was said until she heard the familiar name. At this moment in the night, the anger in Li Ruoxi's heart completely erupted. She didn't care what state Wang Sheng was in and rushed directly to him. "You mentioned Yi Bei just now? When did you meet him? Where is he?" She grabbed Wang Sheng's hair angrily, and the sound of her gnashing teeth made Wang Sheng feel a chill. After hearing what happened, Li Ruoxi's face became more ferocious. "Take me to him now. I want to cut Yi Bei into pieces." Wang Sheng quickly shook his head. "Yi Bei is too strong now. I can't beat him." "But what grudge do you have against him? He is the one who caused me to be in this situation now, and he and I will never reconcile." After Li Ruoxi finished speaking, she looked at Wang Sheng again, her eyes full of curiosity. "You easily killed those gangsters in seconds. Why couldn't you beat Yi Bei?" Wang Sheng was also very curious. "Aren't you afraid of me?" Li Ruoxi let out a sinister laugh and gently stroked Wang Sheng's dark arm, her tone full of temptation. "Don't be afraid. I think you are very powerful and strong. If you help me kill Yi Bei, you can ask me to do anything you want later." Wang Sheng couldn't believe that he actually had the opportunity to win the favor of such a beautiful woman. He immediately knelt on the ground, swearing allegiance to Lee Ruashi with an obsessed look. But in the next second, he covered his head again and wailed in pain. After a night, the rain stopped and the sky cleared up. Yi Bei and the others were ready to leave the building. He put on gloves, organized the magazines, and hung the mechanical sword he made on his back. He looked fully armed and handsome. The three of them walked downstairs, carrying large bags. However, the fat man suddenly screamed, "How did my car become like this? My precious car can't even open the door now." Yi Bei looked down at the cracks on the ground, thinking. He knew that the rainstorm last night could never have produced such a strong destructive force. The only possibility that could explain all this was that a higher-level mutant zombie had appeared. He used to be a saintly squad leader, but now he has fallen into the company of mutant zombies, and even used his body to lure them to help him get revenge. However, no one expected that a second mutant zombie would suddenly appear, and its target was Wang Sheng, who had also mutated. It turned out that after Yi Bei left the building, he met his classmates who were fleeing on the side of the road. Seeing that they were about to become food for the zombies, Yi Bei decisively drew his sword and saved these students. "Yi Bei, it's you." The classmates exclaimed in surprise. The students who survived the disaster immediately breathed a sigh of relief and surrounded Yi Bei to ask questions. "This sword is amazing. Where did you get it from? Did you drive here? Can you take us with you? Do you have any food? Share some with us." At this time, Xiaoyu in the car realized that Yi Bei was just a student. The fat man looked at Yi Bei curiously, wondering how he would deal with these people. "Enough. Shut up," Yi Bei shouted angrily, and everyone suddenly quieted down. He said coldly, "I can give you food, but you have to help me do something. I'm not stupid enough to give these strangers supplies for no reason." The fat man said helplessly, "Old rules, you explain it to them this time." So Yi Bei walked in front carrying the weapon, while the fat man taught the students how to dig out energy black crystals from the back. "We can get this thing out by knocking open its skull and gently pulling it." The classmates were dumbfounded when they saw this scene. "This is too disgusting." The timid girl fainted. The fat man comforted them. "Don't be afraid, brothers and sisters. The zombies' heads are very fragile, and it's easy to get the black crystal out." Seeing that Xiaoyu was also working hard to dig black crystals, the others stopped talking and started to clean up the battlefield after receiving the tools. Soon, Fatty collected a large bag of energy black gold. Yi Bei leaned on the car and instructed Fatty to distribute the food quickly, facing the eager eyes of the students. Fatty agreed, even though he felt pain in his heart. However, just as everyone was busy, a black shadow descended from the sky and suddenly landed on the front of the car. Everyone was startled by Wang Sheng's sudden appearance, and Yi Bei also realized that something was wrong. The mutant zombie superpower appeared here. He immediately ordered everyone to flee, dodging Wang Sheng's attack, while waving the mechanical sword to fight back. Seeing this, Li Ruashi clapped her hands excitedly. "Yi Bei, I finally found you." The dead monitor unexpectedly reappeared in front of the students, and this scene shocked everyone. "Monitor, you are still alive?" Some students couldn't believe it. Li Ruashi sneered. "Yes, Yi Bei, the purpose of my life is to see you die." She ordered Wang Sheng to kill Yi Bei. Yi Bei had never expected that this once noble and saintly squad leader would get involved with zombies, but he didn't care. What goes with what? Just kill them together. However, at this moment, Xiaoyu suddenly shouted, "Yi Bei, be careful." A fireball fell from the sky and hit between the two. The students saw a huge figure wrapped in flames appear on the roof. Only Yi Bei recognized it. It is a mutant, a special species with fire attribute. Li Ruashi was also shocked and asked Wang Sheng, "Is this your companion?" Wang Sheng looked confused. "I don't know." As soon as he finished speaking, the fire-attributed supernatural being leaped up and rushed towards Wang Sheng. The two monsters began to fight, which was beyond everyone's expectation. Wang Sheng shouted angrily, "Who are you? Why are you coming for me?" He then kicked the fire-attributed supernatural being away, But the guy had thick skin and immediately opened his mouth and spewed raging fire at Wang Sheng. "Dig up my car. My food," Wang Sheng roared. Li Ruoxi watched the enemy escape and hurriedly ordered Wang Sheng to intercept him. At this moment, a ball of fire flew towards Xiaoyu first. Fortunately, Yi Bei cut down a big tree in time to block it, so Xiaoyu escaped. Due to this action, the two groups of people were separated by the flames. Yi Bei quickly directed everyone to find a hiding place, and everyone hurriedly sought shelter. There was a blazing flame in front of them and pursuers behind them. Yi Bei locked his sights on the underground garage, and the three of them quickly ran in. Wang Sheng outside stopped chasing and turned to the flame power man and said, "Brother, can we have a good chat? Did you also eat the black beads to become like this?" Upon hearing this, the flame man suddenly covered his head and began to wail in pain. "No, I don't want to eat anymore. Those damned local tyrants, they defiled my body and forced me to swallow the black bead. They are all crazy. I will kill them all and burn them to ashes." Wang Sheng saw that the other party had a similar experience to himself and hurriedly advised, "Calm down, we must work together." He turned to the flame ability user. "Let's catch up with Yi Bei together and find a way to turn back into human form. Maybe we can restore it to its original form." The flame master nodded. "Okay, I'll go with you." So the two masters joined forces and quickly caught up with Yi Bei, who was fleeing. Wang Sheng slapped a car away with one palm, completely blocking the way ahead, while the flame master stood behind, spewing flames from his mouth, blocking the retreat. "Brother Yi, we are being attacked from both sides," the fat man shouted in despair. Li Ruoxi, sitting in the car nearby, crossed her legs and said proudly, "Yi Bei, don't think you can escape from my grasp. Just wait and die." Her tone was full of ridicule. Yi Bei had never thought that this woman would be so difficult to deal with. Facing these two mutant zombies, Yi Bei did not hesitate at all and immediately pulled the trigger. However, he underestimated Li Ruoxi's madness. Even though she had turned into a monster, she was still obsessed with revenge. Just now, Li Ruoxi led two psychics and found Yi Bei, who was running away. Yi Bei immediately asked Fatty to take Xiaoyu to retreat, while he prepared to deal with Wang Sheng's attack. However, the fire psychic Zhou Bo approached from behind. Fatty shouted desperately in front, "Brother, we are being attacked." Li Ruoxi laughed triumphantly after hearing this. "Yi Bei, don't think you can escape from my grasp. Just prepare to die." She stared at Yi Bei with a sneer. Yi Bei knew that things were getting complicated. He had hoped to use his intelligence to get out of the predicament, but now he could only let Fatty and Xiaoyu hide aside and fight two of them alone. Wang Sheng took the lead under Li Ruoxi's order. Yi Bei dodged Wang Sheng's attack and seized the opportunity to quickly aim at Li Ruoxi behind him. Bang! A gunshot rang out and Li Ruoxi was shot. Her shoulder was hit, and the pain made her scream. While Wang Sheng turned back to check the situation, Yi Bei continued to shoot. "This woman must die. Don't hurt her." Seeing this, Wang Sheng hurriedly used his body to block most of the bullets, but Li Ruoxi was still hit by two bullets. Yi Bei swung out a sword with determination, and Wang Sheng could only hold Li Ruoxi and retreat first. At this time, the fire power user Zhou Bo rushed over. As a fire power user, his attack power was stronger than Wang Sheng. Facing the scorching flames, Yi Bei could only use the surrounding objects to barely resist. Seeing Yi Bei in a tough fight, Xiaoyu finally realized that she had to be brave. She took out a small axe and quickly threw it at Zhou Bo's head. Although the axe was not very lethal, it successfully attracted the monster's attention. Taking advantage of the moment Zhou Bo turned around, Yi Bei decisively swung the sword and cut off the water pipe above. A large amount of cold water poured down instantly, extinguishing the flames on Zhou Bo's body. Zhou Bo, whose consciousness was suppressed, lay on the ground, wailing in pain. Yi Bei took the opportunity to rush forward, swung his sword hard, and cut off the strange root of Zhou Bo's arm. After being injured, Zhou Bo completely lost his will to fight. In his eyes, Yi Bei seemed to be an invincible killing god. He dodged the next attack with all his strength, and then ran towards Wang Sheng without looking back. Yi Bei, you are so cruel. I will settle with you next time. The two monsters fled in disgrace. Yi Bei held the mechanical sword tightly, still not daring to relax at all. Only after he was sure that they had completely left did he feel the fatigue of his body surge into his heart, and finally fell to the ground. Xiao Yu, brother Yi, are you injured? Xiao Yu asked anxiously. Yi Bei shook his head, although he knew that there might be hidden dangers after releasing the tiger back to the mountains. He did not expect to encounter two superpowers. Brother, do you know where I came from? Asked the fat man. Psychics are monsters mutated from humans who devour energy black crystals. Each one is extremely rare, and psychics like this one who can maintain their sanity are even rarer. Yi Bei replied. Brother Yi, how do you know all this? The fat man asked in surprise. We'll talk about this later. Yi Bei replied tiredly. Although he successfully drove away the two monsters, Yi Bei felt even more depressed. This world is different now. The end of the world is approaching faster and faster. In order to survive, I must build stronger equipment. After the three of them arrived on the ground, since the vehicle had been damaged, they could only put on raincoats and move forward in the heavy rain. Yi Bei suddenly noticed that Xiao Yu seemed to have something to say. Brother Yi, I have been to this place before. My father has an old friend who lives here. Xiao Yu pointed to the top of the mountain in the distance and continued. He said that his house has very high walls and many computers. Are your father's friends reliable? Yi Bei asked. Xiao Yu shook her head. I don't know either. I just remember that Grandpa Zhang had a lot of computers at home. Hearing this, Yi Bei seemed to suddenly think of something, and immediately asked Xiao Yu to lead the way. At the same time, Li Ruoshi, who was seriously injured, was struggling in pain on the bed. She roared angrily. Ruoshi, I brought all the black gold. Give them all to me. Wang Sheng asked hesitantly. Are you sure you want to eat it? Li Ruoshi ordered angrily. Give me the black gold, all of it, and get out. Wang Sheng saw that she had completely lost control, so he could only walk outside helplessly. At this time, Zhou Bo was hiding from the rain in a corner. He looked at Wang Sheng coldly. Did he eat it? Still hesitating. If he can successfully mutate and become one of us, selling elements will no longer be afraid of zombies, no longer afraid of anyone. Wang Sheng said calmly, but we can't take it lightly. We must cooperate with people like Yi Bei, catch him, and force him to tell us how to change back to his original form. After that, he stretched out his hand and shook it tightly with Zhou Bo.